Attending. My name is Deborah Exner, and I will be the moderator for this evening's candidate debate. The Citizens Clean Election Commission is the sponsor of this evening's event. The Clean Elections Act is a campaign finance reform measure initiated by Arizona citizens and passed by voters in 1998. Participation as a clean elections candidate is strictly voluntary. The system provides full funding for qualified candidates who agree to abide by the Clean Elections Act and rules. To qualify for funding, participating candidates must demonstrate or illustrate the support of their constituents by gathering $5 qualifying contributions from registered voters in their legislative district. The candidates agree to adhere to contribution and spending limits and may not accept money from special interest groups. They also agree to participate in these debates. As we move into the debate, we encourage audience questions. If you have questions, please print them clearly on the card that was given to you when you came in and hold it up. One of our volunteers will pick up the cards and deliver them to me. We screen questions for clarity, to eliminate duplication, speeches, or personal attacks on candidates. If you need another card, just raise your hand. There is an independent timer who will see that all candidates have equal time to answer questions and will tell them when their time is up. Our format this evening will be opening statements for 3 minutes, a quick lightning round, 2 minutes to answer questions, 2 minutes to answer candidate questions, and then closing statements for 3 minutes. We ask that you remain polite to all candidates and give them a fair and uninterrupted hearing, no matter how strongly you may agree or disagree with what's being said. This means no applause, outbursts, or cheers, except now as we introduce the candidates. So tonight we have Charlene Fernandez, Democrat running for the Arizona House of Representatives, and Jose Suarez, also Democratic candidate running for the Arizona House of Representatives.
Thank you.
The order in which the candidates will speak has been determined by alphabetical order by last name, starting with, well, we don't have the Senate, sorry, we'll progress from that point. The closing order will be determined by reverse alphabetical order by last name. So Ms. Fernandez, would you start with your opening remarks, please?
Good evening. I want to thank the Clean Elections for having this debate tonight and for allowing me to participate. I'm not a Clean Elections candidate, so I'm really thankful that I was allowed to participate. I am a candidate for the State House. I was a candidate 2 years ago for the State House. I know that I'm qualified for this position. It's been ingrained in me. I've been getting ready for years for this position. I was born and raised here in Yuma County and attended all public schools in this area. I'm a graduate of Northern Arizona University with a degree in education. I've worked for 2 congressmen, Congressman Pastor for over 11 years and Congressman Grijalva for about 2 years. I was also an appointee of Governor Napolitano with the Arizona Department of Environmental Quality. My background is varied. I do have an extensive background in public service with the state of Arizona and with the federal government. But more importantly, in the last few years, I've gained an enormous amount of experience with small business. And that's really near and dear to my heart right now. I feel that small business is being shortchanged in our community, much like education. So those are the things that are important to me, is that we recognize what small business has to offer. They're the backbone of our community, and then also public education. I hope that you consider voting for me, and I'm anxious to get started, and I'm anxious to hear what questions you have.
Thank you. Mr. Suarez, your opening remarks?
Thank you. I'm Jose Suarez, and This night is about yourself, the voters for District 4, and how I want to get elected can help you to improve your quality of life by improving economic development, job creation, and several other factors that are going to make you very proud to be living in this great state of Arizona. I was born and raised in Mexico. I am an immigrant. I'm proud of my heritage. And also, I'd like you to know that I'm very proud also to be a United States citizen, the land of the free and the home of the brave. My background is in financial services, but when I came in this country, since I didn't speak any word in English, I started flipping burgers. I can feel proud now that I work as an investment representative through one of the most recognized insurance firms in the United States. And I encourage everybody here in this audience and some other ones to keep working hard and keep pursuing the American dream. And if I can, as a state legislator, help you to improve those conditions, to help you live the dream, I'll be happy to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. In an attempt to lighten the mood for tonight's debate, we're going to do a quick lightning round of this or that. This will allow us to get to know a little bit more about the candidates. Please answer with just one word. Mr. Suarez, Droid or iPhone or Windows?
iPhone.
Okay. Ms. Fernandez, CNN, Fox News or MSNBC?
MSNBC.
Mr. Suarez, Facebook or Twitter?
Facebook.
Ms. Fernandez, Mac or PC?
PC.
Okay. All right. Now to segue to our actual questions. Ms. Fernandez, what will your top priority be if elected?
As I mentioned in my opening statement, public education and the funding of public education. My service on the school board at the Yuma Union High School Board for 8 years has prepared me to tackle this subject. It's very important that we keep our commitment to the students of this state, and that would be to fully fund public education. But at the same time, we have to think about our economy, and that's my second priority. So public education and the economy.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Suarez, what will be your top priority if elected?
Definitely economic development and job creation. Without economic development, we wouldn't be able to attract capital investments to District 4, thus enhancing the opportunity for jobs. So my number one priority will be job creation and economic development, without mentioning that education is very imperative as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Suarez, Arizona's unemployment rate has remained above 7% this year and has been slow to recover from the Great Recession. What do you propose to improve the job climate in our state?
First of all, I disagree with that 7%, especially in District 4. District 4 is much higher than 7%. I would say it's anywhere between 20 and 30%. And promoting economic development will help us get more jobs for the people. We need to make sure that we have enough roads and highways, that we have enough water treatment plants, that we offer public works that are very necessary for our cities and towns. So without economic development, we're not going to be able to offer more jobs to the people. The more the better infrastructure we have, the more capital investments we can bring down to help create jobs.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Fernandez, Arizona's unemployment rate has remained above 7% this year and has been slow to recover from the Great Recession. What do you propose to improve the job climate in our state?
Again, public education. As a school board member, whenever big business would come into our area, the first thing they looked at was the quality of our schools. They wanted to know how our high schools were doing, what the graduation rate was, how we paid our teachers. And a lot of people don't realize how important public education is for business to come into this area. So I would enhance what we're doing at our public schools, because we are doing a good job, but we can do much better. And I think we also need to change the climate of how we treat newcomers into this great state. We need to open our arms, embrace them, and make sure that they know that they are welcome.
Thank you. Ms. Fernandez, you are running as part of a team of 6 to 7 that would include city council candidates, judge candidates, and constable candidates. What have you got in common with these other people that will be on the team?
I'm not really sure I understand that question, because I'm not really running as a team with anybody, but I would think that any candidates that are running, whether, no matter in what field they're running in, what office, that the betterment of our community, of District 4 and of the state of Arizona.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Suarez, you are running as part of a team of 6 to 7 that would include city council candidates, judge candidates, and constable candidates. What do you have in common with the other people on that team?
We all want to make sure that residents of District 4 and San Luis and Yuma County want to create better economic conditions so we can all work together as municipalities and state and counties and try to find solutions to help these people get more jobs and get more educated.
Okay. Mr. Suarez, the Colorado River has not flowed to the Gulf of California within my lifetime, and I am 58. How do we ensure that all states and Mexico get their acre-feet of water?
Thank you. It's very important that we all get together. I would like to work with all of the authorities and representatives from the different entities, including the Mexican side, and come to an agreement to make sure that what's the fair share that everybody should have as far as water distribution. Especially in District 4, we need to protect our water rights.
Thank you. I've been told I don't need to repeat the question, but if you'd like me to repeat it, you can ask for that.
No, that's fine on this question. I may ask you to do it on others, but again, that's very important that Yuma County District 4 receives their fair share. That's why we have the Water Commission to deal with Mexico and throughout the state of Arizona with the Colorado River allocations.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Fernandez, what's the most serious challenge facing Arizona?
Right now, I think the most serious challenge facing Arizona is the economy and economic development. It's bad out there, you know, throughout the country. And when you come to an area like Yuma, where we've lost a lot of our residents going to other places, we have to think about how we can attract more industry into the area and assure these new businesses that would want to come to the area that we have the workforce that is able to do the jobs. Public education is right there with economic development. We have to make sure that we educate our children to make sure that they are able to do the jobs of the future.
Thank you. Mr. Suarez?
Yes. Well, I believe that without a doubt, the number one problem in Arizona is, again, job creations and economy. We must make sure that we create the best economic conditions to attract capital investment and offer jobs. We must promote the state of Arizona. District 4 is in an enviable location. This geographical location is composed of 2 countries and 4 states. We have to take advantage of the fact that we have the Colorado River on our side and that we got several entities that can work together and make sure that we got a very attractive economic development matters that we need to work on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Suarez, What is the role of the state government when it comes to education, and how would you address a school that's underperforming?
First of all, state government has to be able to allocate properly and adequate funds to make sure that public education is that of a very high quality. Lately, we've been witness that public education has not really been funded to keep working with those core programs and extracurricular activities that are still very critical for our children to be educated the most effective way. We need to make sure that they're well-funded so that they can be prepared to the worldwide commerce. Arizona is very, very interesting state, and we need to make sure that our students get the proper education through our allocation and through promoting more incentives to those schools that are performing better. And if they're not performing, we need to work together with the school authorities and make sure that they deliver what we promise to our children.
Thank you. Ms. Fernandez?
The state of Arizona has the number one responsibility to make sure that our schools are fully funded. That's part of what is in the Constitution, is that our schools are funded, and it is the state of Arizona's responsibility. If a school is underperforming, I think there are many measures that we can take, but as the state legislature, I don't think that they should be a part of that. That's the Department of Education should determine if a school is not performing to its ability, and then they should take the measures that need to be taken to make sure that they are adequately funded and that they have the personnel in there that's able to bring the school up to their ability.
Thank you. Ms. Fernandez, South County is known for not having or being well represented. How do you plan to end that and to represent our border city?
That's a very good question for me. I spent 12, like I said, about 11 and a half years working for Congressman Pastor. And historically, if you could go back to the time in 1991 when Congressman Pastor came into this area and you looked at what was happening in San Luis, you would know that between the congressman and myself, we represented San Luis quite well. I also served 8 years on the high school board as probably one of the only representatives that went to South County. The San Luis area. I was always there at their graduations presenting scholarships, and South County is near and dear to my heart. So I think most of the people in this audience, and anyone probably watching this, will know that we've done a lot for South County. I know how to represent them, and I will represent them well come January.
Thank you. Mr. Suarez?
I live in South County, and I think that South County needs leaders that care for the region. I can proudly say that I've served San Luis, the city of San Luis, as city council member 2 terms already, and I'm willing to keep serving San Luis as part of District 4. We have to make sure that our leaders really care for the people here in South County and District 4. And if I get your vote when I get elected, I'll show you what is that about. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Suarez, should guns be allowed in public buildings?
What was that? I'm sorry?
Should guns be allowed in public buildings?
Only for safety and security personnel. That's my thought. I mean, everybody has a right to carry guns and protect themselves. But when it comes to public buildings, there's got to be some security people that will take care of the security of the people there.
Thank you. Ms. Fernandez?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Fernandez, what role does the state have when it comes to immigration and protection of the border?
Actually, the state has very little responsibility. That's a federal issue. And I think it's left up to the federal government to deal with immigration issues.
Mr. Suarez, rather?
I agree with Charlene. The state doesn't have a lot of responsibility to work on immigration issues. However, it is very imperative that state legislators work with the federal government and try to get solutions to fix these issues, especially when it comes to undocumented immigrants that are already here in the state, that have been here for so many years and that are still contributing. It's really impossible to dream that they'll have to be deported to their origin countries. So we need to find some solutions together, both the state and the federal government, to help these issues be fixed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Suarez, of all the major cities in District 4, in your opinion, which is the one that needs the most help from our state, and how would you help it?
That's a very interesting question. I would say not Yuma as a city, but also Yuma as county. In fact, Yuma County represents the bigger portion of the District 4 that I'll be representing when I get elected. So I would try to get a little bit more emphasis on Yuma County. However, the other areas that are part of District 4, like south of Buckeye, southwestern of Tucson, the Tohono O'odham tribe, and also the Cocapa tribe, will be very important for me to work on.
Thank you. Ms. Fernandez?
All cities within District 4 are so very diverse and yet have a common thread. I would be representing them all very well. I've visited the Tanotam Nation. I've visited in Tucson and Maricopa County, Ajo, Gila Bend, very, very diverse areas that very much need our attention. And as your representative, I will give you that time and attention.
Thank you. Ms. Fernandez, since the Affordable Care Act is now the law, should Arizona establish a marketplace health exchange or continue to let residents purchase health care through the federal exchange?
I think we should definitely give our residents of Arizona a choice. And I think the Affordable Act has really implemented a program that has made a lot of people, gave them the ability to have insurance for sometimes, the first time in their lives. But I think an exchange would also help the residents of Arizona.
Thank you. Mr. Suarez?
Affordable and reachable healthcare is very important in District 4. I would say that we have to let the people decide which programs to go with and let those private companies compete between them to offer the highest quality of healthcare and at the most affordable prices. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Suarez, what are the measures you believe are the ones that need to be taken if the schools are underperforming?
The measures that we need to be taken, that we need
Yes.
to take. As a state legislator, the most that I can do is to legislate to all those school districts to abide by those rules. But it wouldn't be up to me to enforce those laws. There's also authorities, school authorities, that will take care of that. The only thing that I can do as a legislator is to write the guidelines for which everybody should be abide by.
Thank you. Ms. Fernandez?
As a state legislator, I would work very hard, number one, to make sure that our schools are fully funded. That is a promise that we made to our public schools, and we should keep that promise. At that point, school boards and the Department of Education should come in and handle any issues where there's an underperforming school.
Thank you. Ms. Fernandez, if elected, what committees would you like to serve on and why?
Since I have a degree in education, I would really like to serve on the committee dealing with education, but also my background with environmental issues. As I said, I worked for 5 years under Governor Napolitano in the Department of Environmental Quality. So I would like to be on a committee that deals with environmental issues in Arizona.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Suarez?
Thank you. When I get elected, I'd like to be part of the committees for appropriations. That for me will be very, very critical so that I can make sure that District 4 gets the proper allocation that we need for our residents here. Also, education is a big committee that I'd like to be part of, because that way I can make sure that we demand high-quality education through proper funding, and also agriculture. I like to be able to stand for the rights, for the water rights for our people here, and also help those farmland owners to get the proper labor force that we need. I know that in the past, there have been some times that they lose their crops because of lack of proper labor. And that's a little bit ironic because there's so much unemployment here. So we need to find some other solutions to attack that issue of the unemployment, especially within the agriculture industry.
Okay. Mr. Suarez, thank you. Sorry. What is your opinion of Governor Brewer's decision last year to expand Medicaid in Arizona?
It's a pretty good decision so that we can help more people to get more access to affordable health care, especially when they expand the Medicaid program. That means that more people are going to be able to access those services, and we need to make sure that that also doesn't get abused. Some people abuse on that, and we want to make sure that the people who really, really need those health services are being able to get those at an affordable price.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Fernandez?
I was very proud of our governor when she made that decision for expanded Medicaid.
Thank you. Ms. Fernandez, what qualities and characteristics make you the best candidate to represent District 4?
Qualities. I'm a good listener. I work hard. I take things seriously. And when I begin something, I finish. I don't quit in the middle. And those are my characteristics. And I would say, I don't know if it's a characteristic. I think it would be my experience and my background, the very varied background that I have in public service, the private sector, working with nonprofits, and knowing this area.
Thank you. Mr. Suarez?
Thank you. My background, my heritage, my culture, and the fact that I like to listen to the people and get involved with them, and also the fact that I like to get everybody together to work to improve our living conditions in District 4.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Suarez, what is your take on immigration reform?
That's a very, very interesting question. We need to make sure that the comprehensive immigration reform at the federal level takes place. At the state legislature, we can't really do much. However, one point that I'd like to mention is that these undocumented people that live in our state, they all drive to work. They all do other living activities. However, they're out in the shadows. We want those people to come out of the shadows. Given the fact that they're not supposed to drive cars, but they still do because they must work. That's a big thing that they're doing. They want to make sure that they have enough money to support their families. I wouldn't mind to promote legislation to help these people get any form of identity or driver license so they feel better and more comfortable to drive to those places. It's better for our safety to know who they are and where they are. That way we can know that if they're responsible for any accident or something, we know how to make sure that they're responsible for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Fernandez?
I'm going to answer this question as just a citizen and not as a candidate. I think it's very important that the citizens of this state, of this country, work with their congressmen. Let their congressmen know that they want immigration reform now, and it has to be comprehensive.
Thank you. Ms. Fernandez, how do you feel about an increase in the minimum wage?
I'm very, very much in favor of an increase in the minimum wage.
Thank you. Mr. Suarez?
It would be crazy to raise the minimum wage to $15. I know that another state raised their minimum wage to $15. I think that has to be realistic. However, there's a lot of people that even with the minimum wage, they can't afford to live. So I would be in favor to raise the minimum wage. $15 per hour will be too much, but I would say anywhere between $9 and $11, it'll help very much to our people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Suarez, why public funding of prisons?
Public funding to private prison, is that the question, to private prisons or public prisons?
It's a question that came in. It just says, why public funding of prisons?
It has to be done. I mean, who's going to pay for that? We all, as taxpayers, pay for that, even though we wouldn't like to. I'd like to be able to reduce the funding for prisons, especially private prisons, and look for ways to make sure that the violators of the laws pay more for they to, you know, for the costs that incur when they get in jail.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Fernandez?
I believe it's our responsibility to fund prisons and jails just as taxpayers, but I think this question might have been about private prisons, and I'm very much not in favor of private prisons. Again, we're not funding our public schools to the responsibility that we should be funding them, and I think we're siphoning that money away and sending it to private prisons.
Thank you. Ms. Fernandez?
Yes.
What is your position on repealing Arizona's gay marriage ban?
I am very much not in favor of repealing the ban. Boy, that's like a double negative. I am very much in favor of gay marriage.
Thank you. Mr. Suarez?
Thank you. I was raised with certain values that are related to family, values that are related to non-discriminating against people. When it comes to gay marriage, I respect the community of homosexuals, lesbians, gays, and transsexuals. I believe that they have a very well capacity to succeed as any other person, but two males wouldn't be able to procreate. So I would have a difficult time to believe that a marriage should be between two males or two females. However, they got the same aptitudes or capacities to succeed in every other areas.
Thank you. In District 4, which city would you consider a role model city and why, Mr. Suarez?
San Luis, Arizona, because we have the best working people in the state, and I have already witnessed that. So I feel proud of living in San Luis, Arizona.
Ms. Fernandez?
I think every city in District 4, again, I went to visit Ajo, and the people in Ajo are unbelievably friendly. They're known as the ones that go out and vote on Election Day. And I find that really refreshing because they do like to go to the polls to vote. Visiting Gila Bend, another city that we just kind of zoom by on our way to Phoenix or running back to Yuma from Phoenix. The people in Gila Bend are just wonderful. And I love Yuma and San Luis, Somerton, like no other, Las Estrellas, Goodyear, Midvale in Tucson, and the Tanotam Nation, wonderful people. They were very welcoming to me. We had a wonderful day last week. So I don't think we can narrow it down to one. We've got some great cities in our district, and I'm so excited to and anxious to represent them in January.
Thank you. Ms. Fernandez? Yes. Name someone from the opposing party you like and respect.
From the opposing party that I like and respect. Okay, I just talked about him the other day, and I ran into him at the bank. His name is Jim Carruthers, and he used to be a state representative. And when I ran into him at the bank, just day before yesterday, I asked him if his ears were burning, and he said, no, why? And I said, because you're a role model for me. I watched you when you were a state representative, and yes, I know you're a Republican, and yes, I'm a Democrat, but I very much admired the work that you did when you were a state representative. You worked with anyone. And there was an R by his name, but when he went to the state legislature, he left it in his car, and he worked with anyone. And so those are the people I admire, and I continue to admire.
Thank you. Mr. Suarez?
Ronald Reagan. he was a role model for the whole country. And I'm very proud that we had a president like Ronald Reagan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Suarez, what importance do you think the youth have, and how would you involve them with the communities?
Youth want to be successful. Youth want to be more educated. Youth want to be more involved in all areas of society. So what I will do when I get elected is to push for more funding to those youth people to get better education, to get more involvement with the community, and to make sure that they're successful, especially when it comes to avoiding drugs and addictions. We need to make sure that we have enough recreational activities so they can stay away from drugs and become more successful as they want.
Thank you. Ms. Fernandez?
The wonderful part of serving on a school board, on a high school board, is you get to see a lot of the youth come to your board meetings and let you know what they're doing. We had many that came in and told us about the pints, many pints of blood that they were donating, the thousands of cans of food that they were donating to the food bank, the many walks that they walked on to raise money against diabetes, cancer research. Our country is in really good hands, and so that I'm so excited about the youth of this country, and I'll do anything I can to help the youth and make sure that we appropriate funds that in our schools that they're prepared to carry our youth to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Fernandez, what is an issue or position where you stand in disagreement with your own party?
My own party. That's a really difficult question. I don't really think about what I believe in. As Mr. Suarez said, you know, we're raised with certain values, core values. I don't really think about my party when I vote, or no, I don't think there's anything that I can really think of. Our party represents social justice. I believe in social justice. Our party believes in a woman's right to choose reproductive rights, and I totally believe in that.
Thank you. Mr. Suarez?
I'm proud to be Democrat. I still disagree with some issues that the Democratic Party is about. One of them being gay marriage. My values that I was raised for were the family is something that gets created between a man and a woman. The other issue that I disagree a little with our Democratic Party is abortion. I believe that life starts at conception, and I would have a difficult time as a legislator to provide license to kill an unborn child. For me, an unborn child doesn't have to be blamed for what happened that made him to be in his mother. If a woman was victim of abuse and rape, I would rather see all kind of funding and counseling for that victim so we can help her either to give this baby in adoption or to avoid at all possible abortion. For me, the only reason that an abortion would have to be taking place would be for birth defects for the child, or maybe when the mother is in very danger of getting killed if she gives birth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What are your plans or projects in mind for Arizona veterans, Mr. Suarez?
Good question. Thank you. It is very embarrassing that some veterans in Phoenix died because of the lack of attention on time. From the state legislator, I would research as to what can I do to help avoid those issues. Military veterans deserve services from the society. They did their duty. I can proudly say that my own son is a military veteran from Iraq. And I wouldn't like the veterans to be unserved we need to make sure that they get the benefits and the services that we owe them. I'm very proud of our military personnel from all the country.
Thank you. Ms. Fernandez?
Coming from a background, the daughter of a World War II veteran, I'd like to mention, number one, is that the veterans issue is a federal issue. But with that in mind, as a state legislator, I would work closely with my Congressman Raul Grijalva, to make sure that the services are there for our veterans, whether it be here in Yuma County, in Pima County, or Maricopa County. If you notice here in Yuma, we do have a clinic. A few years ago in the 1990s, there wasn't even a clinic for our veterans. At that time, I was working for Congressman Pastor. My job was to work with veterans and to find out their needs. And we made those assessments, did surveys, made phone calls, and we implemented the first ever veterans clinic here in Yuma County. It was held at the Bureau of Land Management office, and it served its purpose for many years. When Congressman Grijalva became the congressman for this area, he went one step further, and we have a full-fledged clinic here in Yuma County because of these two congressmen, because we worked with veterans in this area to find out what their needs were.
Thank you. Ms. Fernandez, how do you feel about voter ID for all citizens of Arizona?
It's a little confusing, voter ID. You have to take your ID if you're going to vote at the polling place, but you don't need an ID when you vote from home. So I'm not sure what the purpose is of a voter ID. That would be my answer. If someone could give me, why we would have to have an ID at our polling place, why we would turn people away because their driver's license doesn't match the address that's listed on their list of eligible voters, yet someone can bring a ballot in from home with no ID necessary.
Thank you. Mr. Suarez?
I have the same opinion that Charlene Fernandez has. It doesn't make any sense to demand the proper ID when you're voting at the polls. And when you're sent the ballot in the mail, you don't need to get an ID. I can have my neighbor vote for me if I want to, because I don't need to get an ID to vote. Yet, when you go to the polls, you're demanded to get an ID. I mean, however, it's a touchy situation because honestly, how can we know that you're the one registered to vote? But at the same time, if they don't request any ID to vote by mail, why are they pushing so much to get an ID when you go to the polls? Thank you.
Thank you. So this is going to be the last of these questions, and then we'll move to the candidate questions of each other. So this is for Mr. Suarez. How do you feel about private schools being funded with public money?
Private schools are private enterprises, and yet they can get some help from the state, but those are private enterprises, and they have a right to work on education. We can get as much as support we can, but maybe funding so much private schools will not go with me. I would say that as a state legislator, I have to push for more public funding for public education. Yet I respect any entrepreneur that wants to set up a school. Maybe we can help with some funding, but I would concentrate more on public funding for public schools.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Fernandez?
We cannot continue to siphon money from our public school system to private schools, to charter schools, and then demand the best from our public schools. It won't work. We have to fully fund them and demand the best and get the best. So I am not in favor of siphoning money from our public school system to fund our private schools.
Thank you. At this time, each of the candidates will have the opportunity to ask a question of their opponent. So the first question is from Ms. Fernandez for Mr. Suarez.
It's kind of hard, huh, Jose? I've known Jose for a while. Jose, what makes you qualified for this position?
The fact that I like to get involved with the people, and the fact that I really want to make sure that the people that I represent when I get elected are getting better conditions, to live and that they're proud to be living here in District 4. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Suarez, you get to ask a question now of Ms. Fernandez.
Thank you. Charlene, what makes you a better candidate than me?
Jose, I'm going to tell you something, and it's not a better candidate than you. I've been asked who my strongest opponent is. And I thought about it. I thought about it for a split second, and I said emphatically, I am the strongest opponent. I have over 18 years of experience with constituency services. I've served 8 years on a school board, on a high school board, where I not only serve locally, I serve statewide in various committees. I also was sent to Washington, D.C. 3 times to work with our senators and our congressmen to talk to them about issues of public schools. I have a background now in small business and in the private sector. I work with nonprofits. I'm currently a member of the San Luis Community Fund, where we deal with nonprofits and provide them with funding for certain projects in your area. And I do the same in Yuma County. I'm on the Yuma County Foundation Board also. And I serve on those committees to make sure that scholarships are afforded to our high school students and that nonprofits are given money for special projects in our area. That's what makes me the strongest candidate, and that's why you should vote for me.
Can I just make another point?
No, I'm sorry. It's
Thank
not.
you.
Sorry.
Thank you.
All right, but we now move to closing statements. And Mr. Suarez, you have 3 minutes. You go first with closing statements.
Thank you. Arizona needs leaders, leaders that care for the people. We have to make sure that we create the conditions for people to live better in District 4. We have to make sure that we get capital investment to our region to offer jobs. We have to make sure that we get properly funded our school systems. We have to make sure that the agriculture, that is one of the king industries in District 4, keeps being very competitive worldwide. We have to make sure that we have the water rights for our region. We have to make sure that you, the voter, feel proud to be here in District 4. And that's why I need your vote. When I get elected, you're going to have my doors open so that I can get your ideas and thoughts as to how we can work together, especially with local government authorities, and make sure that we help you live the American dream. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Fernandez?
Thank you. I just want to thank all of you for being here tonight. It's nice to talk to an audience rather than just a camera. Again, as I said, I am the strongest candidate. I know how to listen to people, and not only do I know how to listen to people, I know how to put myself to work for the job that needs to be done. My motto is make very little promise and make long time solutions, and that's what I've always done since the day I started working in 1991. Before that, I'm going to give you a little background about myself. I raised 3 children in this community. I was born and raised in this community. My children, as I was, are graduates of the public school system. I also went to all 3 universities. They're all taxpayers in this community and outside this community. I was a non-traditional student. I returned to college after having my 3 kids, married, had a mortgage, and a loan on my car. So I went back to school because I knew that education is the key to success. Once you have an education, they can't take that away from you. So I went back to school at AWC and graduated with honors, and 2 years late, and graduated 2 years after that from NA Yuma with a degree in education, with my dream of going into a classroom and teaching. But that dream never came true. Instead, I worked, as I said, for Congressman Pastor, and that's where my passion is public service and constituency service. I have many people that ask me, especially after 2 years ago, losing by 154 votes, why would you do this again? In fact, I had someone from the Arizona Daily Star that called me one day after I found out that I lost my election. And he asked me one question. He said, "Are you going to do this again?" And without skipping a beat, I said, yes, I am. Well, it came to be. The opportunity landed in my lap. In 13 days, I decided to run, got my petitions out, 767 signatures. I've got the support out there. People out there know that I'm real, that I work hard, and that's what I plan on doing. And I hope you vote for me come August 26th. Thank you.
Thank you. We thank you so much for being and participating in this forum.
So it's a pleasure to come and meet you. Thank you so much for to the Clean Elections Commission to come down and get this forum organized.
Okay.
Thanks everybody who attend this forum, and I'll be proud to get your vote. Thanks so much.
Okay. And to all of you in the audience, we want to thank you for taking the time to come and inform yourselves before voting. We encourage you to find out more about clean elections and the candidates that are running for office by visiting www.azcleanelections.gov. A video of this debate, as well as other clean elections debates, will be posted on that site within 72 hours of the scheduled debate. Thank you all for coming tonight.
Thank you.